Hey guys, today we're going to talk about how to plug these holes. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and jump over here on the drill press and grab our plug cutter out and mix some plugs. Before I do that, I need to find myself a block of wood. Now you want to find something small like this. Something like this can be used for something else, so we don't want to waste lumber like this. Okay, so now somebody's already made plugs in this piece and now we can't use this for anything else. So something that's large like this that can be used for something else, don't use that. Do something small like this. Okay, in the drill press cabinet, we're going to need the chuck key and we're going to need this bit right here, which is the plug cutter. Okay. This plug cutter has a shank on it that is all the same hexagon shape until it gets down to the bit itself. So this is going to be inserted all the way up until it gets to the bit itself. All right, now when we drill this hole, we're going to take several passes to get all the way through. So I'm going to be going down and up just a little bit like this at a time until I get down to the bottom of the plug cutter. So this has a bottom to it, so I'm not drilling all the way through the board. Once the top of the plug gets rounded over, that's when I'm done. So I'm going to start here on the edge so I can maximize how many plugs I could potentially get out of this. Somebody else might find this in a scrap box later and want to use this for plugs. So rather than having to get a large piece, we can continue to use this. Now, this plug cutter does have a tendency to want to grab, so it wants to grab and twist your board. So if it's any smaller than this or even something this size, you can put a clamp on it so that you have a larger handle to hold on to, and it will help prevent it from spinning around. So anytime there's a small piece like this that you're drilling, it's a good idea to go ahead and put a clamp on it so that it doesn't grab. Okay, so we can see the top of that plug has a little bit of a roundness to it, so that means I'm done. What I want to point out is when I was drilling that, I wasn't coming all the way out of the hole. If you come all the way out of the hole, usually this will move on you a little bit, and then you'll not be lined up with your hole again, and it'll tear up your plug. So you can stay inside that same hole, but come up and allow that sawdust to be cleared completely out of the hole. That also allows you to see the top of that plug to tell when you're finished. So let's go ahead and drill one more. All right, my plugs are drilled. Now let's go ahead and get them out of there. Okay, so I'm going to take this skinny flathead screwdriver. I'm going to put it in line with the grain and pop both directions, and they come right out. I want to push it down as far as I can so that it doesn't break off the plug inside the hole. Now this is a tapered plug, so the rounded side is actually going to go into the hole first, and it's a little bit fatter at the other end. So it should fill the hole on our counter bore hole here when we push it in. So it should be loose at first, and then it should actually flare out and be tapered so that it fills that counter bore. So I'm going to put a drop of glue in each hole, and then I'm going to put a drop of glue on the plug like that, and I'm going to use my finger to spread that glue around. I want to make sure that there's plenty of glue on this so that it is going to stick in the hole. And then once I push it in there, I like to twist it around and then line up my grain so that my grain is lined up. The plug and the board have the same grain direction. And I still have glue on my finger, so I'm going to use this excess glue here as my drop of glue on the second plug. twist to spread the glue, push down, and line up the grain. Okay? Now you'll have some glue that squeezes out around the plug. That's okay for this situation. Normally when I wipe off all the excess glue, but after about 30 minutes, when that's dry, 30 to 45 minutes, we're gonna go ahead and sand that down even with the edge, with the corner of the box. Okay? So I'll see you back when that glue is dry. Okay guys, we're back the next day and our glue is dried on our plugs. You don't have to wait a whole day. You can wait about 30 to 45 minutes anytime you glue something, and then you can start working with it. But my plugs are dry now for sure, so I'm going to get a couple of things together. I'm going to sand these down with 80 grit sandpaper using a sanding block, like this one here, because I want to make sure that these are nice and flat. This isn't going to take very long. It looks like it might just because they're sticking up so high, but it goes really fast. So I want to get a carpet square, I'm going to set my box down on the table. I have one of these F-style bar clamps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clamp this down to the table so that when I'm sanding, it doesn't move on it. Okay, so that just makes it nice and sturdy so it's not going to move while I'm sanding and rocking all over the place and make the sanding process twice as hard. I have my sheet of 80 grit sandpaper and I have my sandpaper cutter. So just kind of a recap, if you haven't used this before, which if you're at this stage in the box, you should have used it several times, but we're going to go grit down and put this in long ways. First tear line, and we'll put in long ways again on the second tear line. And now I have my quarter sheet of sandpaper. And that fits on my sanding block just like this. And we're going to go ahead and sand on this. Now when you sand, you're not sanding if you're not putting pressure. So we're going to apply quite a bit of pressure on here and sand this down so that it's flush with my box. This may happen, okay? You got to be careful with those hard edges at first. So let me show you one way that you can prevent that. We're going to start sanding those sharp corners off first. Okay, and we're done. Let's take a look. And there we go. Plugs are sanded down real good.